This is Hannibal back here from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. Lots of news today. According to Janelle Grant's lawyer, they have received a request from the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York to delay the case that's ongoing against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, pursuant to a non-public criminal investigation that's going on right now into Vince McMahon. Last year, we know his house was raided. They did confiscate his cell phone. We also know he deleted a lot of his messages on his cell phone, as has this come up in the Janelle Grant cases. For instance, she's only shown his side of the cell phones, text messages where McMahon has alleged it was going both ways. But for those of us that were wondering the status of that case as recently as today, Janelle Grant's lawyer has confirmed there still is an ongoing criminal investigation into Vince McMahon. As far as Arn Anderson, who becomes a free agent tomorrow after spending 5 years with AEW, where he has not done much since Cody Rhodes left, Dave Meltzer speculated today that I brought this up the other week during the promotion of the title match that Cody Rhodes had with Logan Paul last week that received like 10,000 Google searches, an all-time record low for WWE. One of the reasons why people weren't interested in it is because during the hype, Cody Rhodes was talking about, for this title run, I'm looking for a manager. So he's not even he's already talking about it like a title run, like it's gonna go to WrestleMania, like he's going to wrestle The Rock at WrestleMania, which everyone expects. But he was saying that he wanted a manager for this title run. Well, his manager in AEW was Arn Anderson, who they've barely used since his time managing Cody Rhodes. So now is Arn Anderson, who could debut as early as Friday Night SmackDown, is he going to manage Cody in WWE? Is this the manager that Cody could be talking about? One thing, as I've said a million times, they have all these older legends in AEW. Arn Anderson was managing Cody Rhodes. Why didn't they put him with someone other than Cody Rhodes? Like after Cody Rhodes, I think he managed his son Brock Anderson, but once they released Brock Anderson, who may not have been ready. It was a nepotism hire, obviously, because we haven't heard of him doing anything since or before. I mean, this happens all the time in wrestling. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's a lot easier if you're the son of a wrestler to get a job. That's just a fact. But all I'm saying is, why didn't they put Anderson with someone that could actually get over more with the help of Anderson instead of just having him do nothing? One of the bizarre things of AEW. By the way, as if AEW does not have enough programming, Tony Khan said in an interview this week that he's very open to doing more AEW programming. Speaking of which, Raw this week was the lowest rated Raw since 2024. The lowest viewed segment of the entire lowest viewed episode of Raw 2024 was the Gunther segment with Jey Uso. I know they're trying to make him King of the Ring now, which obviously by the searches of King of the Ring and by the feedback, it's kind of three good matches on King of the Ring, three bad matches or so-so matches, as I've heard. Some would say bad, some would say so-so. By jobbing Gunther to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, they killed all of his momentum. And like, how can we take Gunther seriously after losing to a guy that honestly looks in worse shape than your average guy at WrestleMania? I think they picked the wrong people to lose the Intercontinental title streak to have him drop it to, and proof is he had the lowest segment on Raw, and SmackDown was also the lowest rating of the year, 0.5. Actually did lower than a 0.56. Did a 0.55, but it's on cable. SmackDown is on network. So, yeah, Raw did a 0.55. So there you go for the update on that. Is there any other news? There's lots of injured people in AEW, as we all know. Natalia's deal with WWE is about to expire. She just turned 42. I'm sure she's got a good amount of time left. I mean, there's someone that's been on NXT in recent weeks. Her last appearances that have made publicity, that have made the news, have been in NXT. So would they use her more as a top female in AEW? Probably. Might be to her benefit to go to AEW. Although Tyson Kidd is an agent in WWE, he broke his neck in a WWE ring with some finish with Samoa Joe. Everybody has mistakes in wrestling. Believe it or not, even Bret Hart has, even though he likes to say he didn't. Just ask Dynamite Kid, Bad News Brown. Sorry, you can't ask them because they're dead. But Dynamite Kid talks about being hurt by Bret Hart in his book. Bad News Brown is on shoot interviews talking about it. And I know personally from Bad News Brown, knowing him before he passed, uh, Bret was stiff with him. And there was recently an enhancement guy that came out, said he got stiffed by a pile driver by Bret. So I know he likes to say he never hurt anyone. Everybody in wrestling has done screw ups at some point. But what I was gonna say is because it happened in a WWE ring, likely, and TJ's also a great producer. Likely, he could probably work there for a very long time. Although I'm sure he could be a producer in AEW too. But they've done great. I was at both TJ and the Kitalia's WWE tryout in Deep South Wrestling. I was actually there for that um, back in 2006. So I always I'm proud that actually got to witness the process that Natalia went to get hired, and she ended up being arguably one of the most successful divas of all time. I think the most pay-per-view appearances of any diva. And she wrestled for me a few times when I was promoting for Stampede Wrestling out of town shows. So I wish them the best. Someone says WWE is ice cold now. I don't know about ice cold. I would say AEW is closer to. Actually, I would say that NWA is ice cold. I wish them the best, but they're ice cold. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't call WWE ice cold. They're still getting over 6,000 people to their TV tapings, which is and they are doing better than that from time to time. They're not as hot as they were WrestleMania period when The Rock was doing all those appearances, but I wouldn't say they're ice cold. But interest level is definitely way down. The Enforcer, Arn Anderson. I met him a couple of times when he was a WWE agent and I was doing WWE extra jobs. He actually, which I've said this before, he actually the one time where they're practicing stuff with Batista when Batista was still like learning around 2004. Batista was practicing stuff on me in Calgary, and Arn Anderson was directing him what to do. I always found that a nice memory because Batista went on to be a big star. Arn Anderson was managing Wardlow. There you go. Well, Wardlow has not done. Have they just given up on Wardlow? Because he's pretty much off the radar. Speaking of somebody that's ice cold right now, it's Wardlow who should be doing more. I don't feel Cody needs a manager either. I don't feel Cody needs a manager either. Bring back WCW. I wish. Uso is trash. I've never been into the Usos. Never been into the Usos. Be honest, I'm not denying their success, but I've never been into them. There does need to be another ECW style league. I hope that Great North Wrestling, it has not been that up to this point, but I hope it does become more of that, although there has been some definite extreme stuff. As we do the relaunch starting June 29th, I hope Great North Wrestling can become more of the ECW of the 2020s. We're planning to run frequently starting June 29th. The event after that is going to be August 31st. Tickets for both of those events are on sale at ticketweb.ca right now. Lots of comments today. Humble 85. All the wrestling industry is ice cold from a creative standpoint. To a lot of us, yes. I would agree with that. The most intriguing thing in wrestling in my recent memory was the Ric Flair pizza incident. And that wasn't even in wrestling. And AEW didn't even capitalize on that. Prior to that, it was, oh, The Rock was back doing stuff. But since WrestleMania, there's nothing going on. I mean, people are intrigued at the how what's going on with AEW, but not in a good way. Someone says Raw lost 1.8 million viewers. SmackDown lost 1.4 million. I don't know. I haven't followed it that closely. I know that ratings have been going down since WrestleMania and NXT did not lose as much, but NXT had Jordan Grace appear, which people can say it's a crossover as much as they want. It is somewhat, but TNA's streaming service is on Endeavor's platform, so it's not like an enemy or competitive company. They work together. It gets people talking about NXT, and it gets the viewers, whatever the viewers are, the TNA has. They usually get 0.01 rating or less. They get interested in NXT, so it gets a buzz going about NXT. And as far as the AEW guy that debuted, which I'm forgetting his name right now, Ethan Page. Uh, yeah, I guess NXT was the most talked about show this week. Bring back house shows. I don't think they're going to bring back house shows. They're doing less and less. And now Endeavor is even looking for site fees for TV tapings. So I don't think house shows make enough money these days. And that's why they don't even go to the small towns really anymore, other in rare cases. ATF Media heard that Arn Anderson went bald by having his hair knocked off by hands of stone. Rugged Ronnie Garvin. Very possible. Very possible. Jeremy Davis, yeah, it's a win-win situation for NXT and TNA. Again, as I said last night, by the way, PCO was at a Montreal Alouettes game this week, the CFL Montreal team, which is a popular team, promoting the TNA. So PCO wants that pay-per-view to be a success. Tickets are not that I keep plugging it, even though they hate me at TNA, but I'll do it for PCO. They're doing a pay-per-view at like an arena that holds 5,000. I know PCO is involved with the promotion. He did post this picture today from England, which I was with him around this time. This is actually the cage in the basement of the gym that we worked out at, where I did train with him during this time. He had the first KO gimmick. His involved painting KO on his face, but he was calling himself at that time KO Carl Ouellet. Surprise, surprise, Kevin Owens stole the gimmick. Also from Montreal. But let me tell you something, as far as who's actually KO'd people and who has been in real fights, this guy is way is incomparably tougher. Someone says both have used their sexuality to get male attention. Not sure who that is. I forget who we were talking about there, but I have no idea. But yeah, the whole thing about the divas is sexuality, of course. There's very few unattractive divas, which I won't say the ones that they are out of respect to them. But yeah, anyways, I wish everybody a wonderful afternoon. I'm hitting the gym in a few minutes. It's actually nice here. Oh, I missed her comment. Oh, here we go. NXT, if NXT allowed Sexy Red Explain to me why Mandy Rose did not get her job back. I guess Sexy Red must have an OnlyFans or something. I really don't know the politics. In wrestling, it's all politics. And maybe Sexy Red was not as known as an Instagrammer. I do know that from what I understand, Mandy Rose had, I'm not defending or I personally don't care if someone has been like in porn or whatever. I heard Mickey James did something in an adult movie. I don't know if that's true or not as well, but I understand that they try and remain advertiser friendly. And I understand Mandy Rose also had a naked guy, her boyfriend at the time. I don't know if it still is in some of her pictures, from what I understand from reports. So it was considered more pornography. I don't know about Sexy Red. I don't even know who Sexy Red is. But thank you for the information. Samantha Starr should get hired. I haven't seen her wrestle, but I know it's the daughter of Baby Doll and Sam Houston. So why not?